Hello Indie Game fans, as mentioned in my 5-year anniversary special, Age of Empires has a very special place in my heart, so here's a look at some awesome indie titles similar to that, with these having some or all of the factors of medieval setting, historical slant or classic RTS setup with worker units. Let's begin with Empires Apart, a free medieval RTS that is essentially Age of Empires in all but name. However, the free version only allows you to play as one civilization, where all additional civilizations are DLC, but that's par for the course for a free-to-play model, but certainly worth a look.
In the Stone Age, we hunted, gathered resources, and explored the world. When neighbors turned towards Asia, I chose the path of Europe. It was the Iron Age. Iron gave us new opportunities, weapons, and buildings. In the Middle Ages, our cities were transformed. Our influence among neighbors grew both on land and at sea.
Another interesting free RTS title is War Selection, one that allows you to tech up through the ages and can possibly result in civilization levels of imbalances in technology, where your horsemen and archers face off against tanks. Similar to Empires Apart covered earlier, the monetization model for this free-to-play title is that additional civilizations can be purchased, although you can also grind up the in-game currency to unlock them, but it's certainly an interesting concept for a game. The focus here is multiplayer and PvP, which might not be for everyone, but if you're looking for a free title, this is one to check out. The Kingdom Wars series is quite an intriguing one, since, put bluntly, this does look like budget Age of Empires, but does have some merit of its own. This mixes the 4X grand strategy game with an RTS, adding a meta layer of city building and management and a strategic overworld map like Civilization, in addition to the real-time battles. These battles are on quite the epic scale, with a ton of units on screen being a highlight, especially during siege warfare. And if you're keen on this, there are variants with fantasy monsters and even most recently, one with zombies in Kingdom Wars: The Plague, released just last year. Becastled is the most recent entry on the list, releasing into Steam Early Access in February, and unsurprisingly, did feature in my Best of the Month recap and shows up here once again. It's a little bit more of a survival base builder, where you not only have to build and expand your town, but do also have to train troops and build fortifications to fend off the Moon Warriors. Enemies come in waves night after night, and it is more about surviving to see the break of dawn rather than going on the offense to take out your opponent. Still, lovely low poly vibe with the requisite worker units, and is a title that should only get better through early access. For something very medieval but focusing more on squad-based tactics, we have Ancestors Legacy, a brutal medieval combat simulator which is fantastically made. If you watch Game of Thrones, this might remind you of something like the Battle of the Bastards, but the sheer mass of humanity and brutality of the combat is a sight to behold. no base building elements, so it doesn't get as high a spot, but if you're looking for a more streamlined title that focuses on tactical combat, this is the title for you. Bad North Jotunn Edition is similarly one that is steeped in history, where you try to defend your island against Viking invaders. While self-described as a real-time tactics roguelite, I think that the strategizing portion of this is pretty interesting, which, like Ancestor's Legacy above, has no base building elements. After initially launching on Switch, it did get a PC version with this free expansion, adding even more content in the form of upgrades, meta progression, hero traits and the usual balancing changes, making it the definitive way to play this game.
Ants. They're organized, industrious, and hungry. But in the Undergrowth, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
I was fascinated by ants when I was a kid, in particular, how ant colonies worked and how the ants communicated and worked together, where Empires of the Undergrowth is secretly one of the best RTS titles out there. There's nothing quite like this ant colony sim, where the variety in the different kinds of ants is impressive, and add to that other insects, arachnids and opposing colonies and you got a winner, although it is moving slowly but steadily in early access.
And take its place amongst the great empires of the Undergrowth.
I told my son, we won't work the farms, no. We won't eat the food of beasts. We'll eat meat, as any civilized animal does. But when the civilized called a harvest, and the city feasted on my boy, we took to the warrens and lit the country aflame. Who decides the fate of animals? The longcoats? The common folk? The KSR? Or the civilized? Whoever triumphs will go hungry no more. Those who fall will be dinner.
Tooth and Tail is a deceptively cute RTS title, starring various animal factions with a much darker undertone, where the losing side actually becomes dinner, which is pretty messed up. Similarly, it's focused on units and tactics rather than base building, but does have one of the most interesting setups with excellent pixel art which I adore. A title which I personally love is Northgard, an epic RTS title where Viking clans battle for control on a new continent, and did make my personal Game of the Year list in 2018 when it was released. Since then, the developers have released multiple playable factions as DLC, such as the Clan of the Dragon, Snake, Kraken and more, culminating in the Northgard Conquest free expansion which added a whole bunch of new content.
What we once thought was a legend has become reality. A land full of opportunities and danger. But we're not the only ones who have heard of its wonders. Other clans will soon be at each other's throats.
Not coincidentally, today's video is brought to you by Northgard Mobile, where this epic RTS is being ported to that platform and is fully playable with touch controls. Probably best on an iPad since you want to be able to see as much as possible, but given how great of a game this is, I have confidence that this port will be good as well. As a special favor to me, if you made it to this point in the video, do click on the sponsor link in the description to show your support.
Now available on iOS devices.
Hands down, I do think that games like They Are Billions are the future of the RTS genre, since while all our favourite classics like Age of Empires, Command & Conquer, Warcraft and Starcraft have or will eventually get remasters, it takes a new type of game for a new era where the survival base builder seems like the way to go. If you have not played this, it has both a campaign and skirmish survival mode where it really does shine in the latter. Build and expand your colony while ensuring sufficient defenses to fend off the zombie horde, where if they do break through, things can quickly spiral out of hand as they infest buildings and spawn even more zombies. I love the steampunk theme, combined with the absolutely mind-boggling number of enemies on screen makes it the best, taking the #1 spot. For more atypical survival games, check out this video and I will see you after the jump.